Hello there, Lori. I wanted to tell you, thank you so very much for the lovely birthday present you sent me. It just arrived in the mail earlier today. There were so many kinds of tea in there, I don't know where to start. And the variety is fantastic too. There are some that I love and some that I've never had before. I can't wait to try them all out.
Hey there, Mom. Happy birthday. I'm glad to hear you like the tea set so much. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful new year of life.
Really, I can't thank you enough, Lori. It's such a thoughtful gift. At my age, it's incredibly rare to get presents from someone outside the family. I was quite surprised to read the card saying it was from you. I'm so glad my son married such a wonderful woman as you. You truly are the best thing that could have possibly happened to him.
Wow, Mom, you're really laying on the compliments extra thick today. It's the least I could do, as far away as we are from you. It's not like we can just pop over anytime we want to visit, and since I know how much you love your tea, I thought this would be a good idea. But if you ask me, I'd say Marco was a catch of the century. He's such a loving, gentle, and supportive man, and honestly, I'd say he could have done far better than me.
Nonsense, dear. Don't forget, you're the one who moved that kind and gentle man's heart so strongly that he wanted to marry you. I've always thought that boy would stay married to his work for the rest of his life. It's all he ever talked about before he met you. So much that I've practically given up on ever getting to meet my grandchildren. I'm terribly sorry, Lori. I shouldn't be talking like that. I didn't want to feel like I'm rushing you to have children or anything.
No, don't worry about it at all. You're fine. I mean, good grief. My parents don't even beat around the bush like that. They just come straight at me with, hurry up and give us some grandchildren.
Yes, well, I can certainly understand how they feel. Having adult children of my own, it's only natural to feel anxious about that sort of thing. But you two feel free to move forward as fast or as slow as you want. You haven't been married for all that long, and I'm sure you'd like to enjoy time with just the two of you for a while longer. Y'all know when the timing is right, and I can't wait until then. Don't worry about me.
Thank you for being so considerate, Mom.
Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. Christmas is right around the corner. Were the two of you planning to come to our house to celebrate?
Yeah, about that. Unfortunately, Marco is in the middle of a massive project at his work, and that's gonna run all the way through the new year.
Oh no, really? So you won't be able to visit at all? Even a day or two?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. It came up pretty sudden, too. Marco only learned about it a few weeks ago. In fact, he's going to be out of town for the end of December and well into January.
Well, if it's for his work, I suppose he can't help it now, can he? It is terribly disappointing, though. I was so looking forward to be able to finally spend some time with you, Lori.
Yeah, me too, Mom. We haven't been able to see each other very much since we moved.
Oh, I've got it. Marco may be busy, but what about you, dear? How would you like to come out here to visit by yourself?
Huh? Me by myself? I don't know. I feel like that would be too much of a burden on you.
Not at all, dear, not at all. I would love nothing more than to have you by. After all, Marco's my oldest son, and you're his wife. So I've been looking forward to showing you around the house. Plus, there are all sorts of family traditions that I would love to teach you about.
Oh, wow, really? That sounds exciting. I'd love the chance to learn more about Marco's family history.
And Marco will be out of town, right?
That's right. He has to work.
Well then, I don't see any reason why you can't come over. You don't want to spend Christmas all by your lonesome, do you? I'll make you all of my favorite Christmas dishes, Lori. You know how good my pumpkin pie is.
Yeah, your pumpkin pie is absolutely heavenly, but the thing is, I'm not really very good at driving in the snow. I could always catch a flight out there, but it's a bit of a jaunt from the nearest airport to your house.
Oh, don't be silly, Lori. We would be happy to come over to the airport to pick you up. We wouldn't mind at all. There aren't any buses or taxis running out here in the country anyway. So what do you say, dear? Won't you grace us with your presence this Christmas?
Well, I guess if you insist, sure, I would love to come out and see you. I've been wanting to see you and Dad for a long time now.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm so happy. It'll be an opportunity to finally introduce you to all the family members out here who couldn't make it to the wedding.
Oh, that would be awesome. I'd love to meet them all.
Be sure you tell Marco about our plans then. I'll message you with more concrete plans once the date approaches.
Got it, will do. Oh, and if there's anything you want to bring to your place that's legal to take on an airplane, please let me know.
Thank you, dear. That's very thoughtful of you. I'll let you know if there's anything my husband would like.
Hey, Mom, I'm here. My plane touched down around 20 minutes ago. I just picked up my bags and got out of the lobby. I looked around outside, but I don't see your car anywhere. Are you still on the way? Did you get held up in traffic?
I'm terribly sorry, Lori. I'm rather tied up at the moment, I'm afraid. I hate to ask you to do this, but would you mind walking the rest of the way to our house?
You want me to walk? But I'm pretty sure I remember looking at a map and your house is pretty far away from the airport.
It's not too far to walk, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be able to make it here in an hour if you're light on your feet. Folks around here are used to walking that kind of distance, you see. Up until we get our driver's license, we've got no choice but to walk or ride a bike in order to get where we want. And when the weather's too rough for biking, we've got no choice but to go on foot.
Oh, I see. Well, okay then.
Come to think of it, you brought a suitcase with you, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Not a very big one, though. Just big enough to hold a few change of clothes and all the souvenirs I brought for you.
Then you might have a little bit of trouble rolling it down the dirt road in front of our house. But if it's as small as you say, you shouldn't have any problems carrying it the rest of the way.
Ah, right, yeah. That's always an option, I guess. If you don't mind me asking, you said the family was all going to be there today, right? I don't suppose any of your relatives are free at the moment, are they?
Well, you could say they're free. But they've all been drinking like fishes since morning. I'd imagine you'd like to make it here in one piece, right?
Yeah, ideally.
Well, then you better get moving. And, well, if I may add, I'd refrain from making such, frankly, brazen requests in the future, dear. I had no idea you would be so imposing. I mean, expecting a family member to go all the way over to the airport just to pick you up.
I mean, I had some things in here that I'd really rather not get damaged. I'm concerned about whether or not they'll be able to handle all the bumps and cracks of the sidewalks and roads.
You'll have to come up with a better excuse than that, Lori. What's the matter? You've got 2 legs that aren't broken, don't you? Or maybe a city girl like you doesn't like walking?
I was expecting you to come and pick me up is the thing. But if you say that I need to walk, that's fine. I'm used to walking around the city since traffic is always such a nightmare. Just know that it'll probably take me a bit more time to get there than you planned me for.
Well, I suppose I have no choice but to bend a little bit with the schedule since we can't pick you up anymore. But put a move on it, you hear me? There are a lot of things that I'm gonna need you to do for me once you're here.
Okay. I'll walk as fast as I can then.
Did you bring an apron with you?
No?
Oh, for crying out loud. You're kidding. You married the youngest son of this family, Lori. You need to get your act together. How could you even think about going to your in-laws' home without even bringing along the bare necessities?
Mom, tell me, did I do something wrong? Like, to offend you or something?
What an odd question. Why do you ask?
I don't know, it's just, you seem different than the way you usually talk to me is all.
What do you expect me to do? I can't let you shirk off on your responsibilities forever. The honeymoon's over, Lori. You've been married for just about a year now. It's time for you to go through this family's boot camp. And with Marco out of town, this is the perfect opportunity.
Boot camp?
That's right. It's time for your basic training, Private. Oh, and don't you even think about going crying to Marco, understand? Consider this your first and final warning. I will not say this again. If you even make the slightest complaint about how I'm treating you to Marco, I will make him divorce you instantly.
Wow.
You don't want to cause my poor son the humiliation of getting divorced just a year after getting married, do you? Then you better do as I say, when I say. Now it's time for you to start walking, and don't you dare take any breaks on the way here. Did you finish shoveling the driveway yet?
Yes, I already finished.
Alright, then the next thing you're going to do is clear out a path to the shed. And once that's finished, I'm going to have you straighten out the closet in the upstairs guest bedroom.
You want me to clean out your closet? Is that really something that has to be done right now? Are we going to get dinner soon? It's Christmas Eve and all the family here who I've been wanting to meet for so long, but I've been doing chores for you nonstop today. I haven't even had a chance to talk with anyone else yet. You also had me work right through lunch, so I'm getting pretty tired and hungry.
You don't understand, Lori. This is a family occasion. You aren't family, so I don't see any need for you to be at the table with all of us. You haven't even given us any grandchildren yet, so what makes you think you even deserve to eat the scraps off the table?
The fact that I'm a human being and you invited me to your house?
You just shut that feisty little mouth of yours and get back to work.
Mom, would you mind explaining what the whole point of this boot camp thing even is? You're just making me do all of your chores. I mean, you have a perfectly functioning snowblower, which I know how to use, but you still made me shovel the driveway manually. And a lot of stuff you want me to do just makes no sense. Weed the garden? It's the middle of the winter.
You know perfectly well what you were signing up for when you married my son. Marrying the oldest son is meaning in this family, and I'm gonna teach you what your place is around here. I am your mother-in-law, and your superior. You will never talk back to me like that again.
Yesterday evening, you dumped a cup full of tea all over me. I walked in the door huffing and puffing from walking full speed for over an hour, and the first thing you do before even saying hello is dump a cup of tea on my head.
Are you still sore about that? Get over it. It was an accident. My hand slipped, that's all. Besides, you looked so cold. I'll bet it felt great to have some warm tea on your skin. All of the family thought it was hilarious, too. Didn't you hear them laughing? I'd say you made a very strong first impression with them.
You slipped, eh? I was pretty sure you did it on purpose. I don't want to believe it at first, but the way you treated me since then made me even more convinced. You can barely go a single sentence without verbally abusing me in some way, and that's on top of the fact that you're using me like a maid. Oh, and I don't remember hearing a single person laugh when you dumped that tea on me. I looked around and everyone had a pretty awkward look on their face.
Oh, is that so?
And then there's what happened at dinner. The table was set up absolutely beautifully. I had to hand it to you. It's just too bad I never got to enjoy it up close since you made me eat by myself in the kitchen. Oh, and while everyone was eating the roasted turkey, I had a ham and cheese sandwich. Then while I was showering, you turned the hot water heater off. I had to sleep in the downstairs crawl space, and you woke me up at 4 a.m. and had been forcing me to do chores for you ever since.
I told you, Lori. This is your place in our family.
Your husband doesn't seem to agree. He told me that I look terrible and should take a break before I collapse.
That old fool is just spoiling you because you're a pretty young thing from the city. You don't report to him. You report to me. You know, I was absolutely appalled when, rather than moving in with his parents as is the family custom, Marco up and moved halfway across the country with you. I've held my tongue all of this time out of respect for him.
He was sent there by his company, and even if that wasn't the case, we already had discussed the issue, and while we do respect your family tradition, we decided to live on our own.
That is not something that the two of you upstarts have any right to decide on your own. Now I just have just about all I can take of your sassiness, Lori. Not to worry, though. I'll have you straightened out by the time I ship you back to the city.
This isn't about straightening me out at all. This is just you being bitter that your son decided he wanted to live with me rather than with you.
Oh, that's what you think it is? Well, you're entitled to your own opinion.
I can't help but notice that wasn't a denial.
I never intended it to be. But what are you gonna do about it, You're completely alone out here. There's not a single person in this house who would take your side over mine. Too bad. So sad. And to think you can't even call on your dear precious husband for help. You poor thing. You're stuck over here for another week. And I'm going to have you working morning till night. Every single day.
I'm afraid not, Mom. No, I'm not ever going to listen to a single word you say ever again. I already told Marco everything.
What? I was very clear what the consequences would be if you did that, Lori. Do you remember what I said? Do you?
Yeah, you said you were going to make us get divorced, and if that's what Marco wants, then I'm fine with that.
Huh? You're fine with getting divorced? Are you serious?
What good is any man who won't even protect his wife from his own mother's abuse? I would rather become a lonely single old cat lady than live with a man like that. Fortunately, however, that's not the kind my man Marco is. He's the kind of man who would stand up for any person in the world who tries to hurt me, even his own mother.
What are you saying? You're not making any sense. Spit it out.
I'm saying that I'm not going to divorce Marco. As a matter of fact, Marco is on his way over here as we speak.
Ridiculous. Marco isn't coming here. You said it yourself. He's out of town on business.
Yes. Well, my husband is quite the capable businessman. He finished a project slated to take another 2 weeks in just a matter of days.
Well, it seems that all your talk of being a loving, devoted wife was just that. All talk. You knew that I was going to force him to divorce you if you went and tattled on me like a child. You even said you're fine with getting divorced. That settles it. This marriage is over.
Back up. I told you that if that's what Marco wanted, I would be fine with getting a divorce. I thought it would be clear that I only said that because I was confident that Marco would not want that. I mean, where do you get off telling me what you're going to make him divorce me anyways? You have no right to make that decision for Marco. At our wedding, Marco and I exchanged our vows before God and a man that we would love each other until the very end. Remember the priest saying what God has joined together, let no man separate? That includes you, Mom.
Hogwash! God may decide what goes on in heaven, but this family, what I say, goes.
Sorry, but your God complex thing isn't going to work on me. I don't need the approval of an overbearing woman like you. All I need is my husband.
You really don't understand who you're dealing with, do you? Look around you! All the family is here today. And once Marco gets here, I'm going to drag the two of you in front of the entire family council, and I will force you to end this farce of a marriage. Hello there, Lori. Listen, about yesterday. I want to let you know that I am very incredibly, truly, deeply sorry. I see now what an absolute fool I've been. I want a chance to properly apologize to you, so please, dear, could you answer the phone?
No, I don't want anything to do with you of a monster of a woman like you ever again. I'll be blocking your phone number from my end in short order, so don't waste your time trying to call me from now on. I won't even know you called, much less respond to you.
Wait, please, I'm begging you. You don't have to answer the phone, fine. But please, just talk to me by text. I desperately want to apologize to you.
You're free to apologize to me if you like. Not that it's going to do you any good, though.
I understand.
Then make it quick. I've got better things to do than talk to you.
Lori, I am deeply sorry for the horrible way I treated you over Christmas. I just suddenly felt this urge of anger deep inside me, like you were a thief who came and stole my son away from me. I suppose I got carried away a bit.
A bit? A bit? You dumped hot tea on my head, forced me to eat scraps alone in the kitchen while you had a turkey dinner, and maybe do all the chores for you. That's your idea of a bit?
All right, I get it. You're right. I got very carried away. I completely lost myself. I was the worst mother-in-law in the world to you. After the tongue-lashing Marco gave me yesterday evening, it was like the scales fell from my eyes. I realized what a total idiot I had been. But, just for the record, when I first got married to my husband, his mother did the exact same things to me that I did to you.
Oh, I see. You think that because your mother-in-law was an awful, overbearing psychopath to you, that gives you the right to be an awful, overbearing psychopath to me?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say at all.
But it is the truth, isn't it? And another thing, I heard everything your husband said to you last night too, so I know that you're making all that stuff up about your mother-in-law right now.
I am not. His mother was terrible to me. He just never realized it.
Both he and my husband was very strict in saying that she was a practical saint who was kind to everyone around her. As a matter of fact, from what they say, she was always the one doing all the cooking and cleaning while you laid around doing nothing.
Sure, she was sweet and kind when everyone else was around. But when it was just the two of us, she showed her true face.
Uh-huh. Well, whatever. If what you say is true and your mother-in-law was terrible to you, then I am very sorry to hear that. However, once again, that doesn't give you the right to do the exact same thing to me.
I know that now, dear. All the rest of the family told me that we're not living in the old times anymore. It's time our family's traditions were updated.
I don't think it has anything to do with traditions or time periods. I'll have you know, my mother wasn't treated well by her mother-in-law either, but that didn't make her want to do the same thing to her own daughter-in-law. It just made her more determined to not be the kind of mother-in-law.
Wow, that's such an incredible thing your mother did.
Incredible? I wouldn't call it that. I'd call it common human decency.
Well, I'd say another part of it is the region we live in. You know, all the people around here are a bunch of old-fashioned hicks. I just got swept up in their culture.
I'm sorry, wasn't this supposed to be an apology? All I've heard about you so far were excuses. If this is all you got to say to me, then I don't see the point in keeping this conversation going.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make excuses. I truly do see the error of my ways. I will never, ever do anything so cruel or hurtful to you ever again.
I'm sure you won't. After all, you're never going to see my face again after today, so you won't even have the opportunity.
Lori, no. Don't say that. And, there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. Marco said he's going to stop sending us money every month.
Oh yeah, that. You can't blame him, considering how you treated me. Plus, I don't know why you say us because your husband said that you were the only one who ever used that money. According to him, you guys don't even need it.
I do need it, though. If I wasn't getting that money, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, you might even have to stop wasting all your husband's money on stupid junk. The only reason you even asked for all that money in the first place was because you were eating through all your savings. Your husband was saying you buy a brand new dress just about every week.
But we live in the middle of nowhere. What else am I supposed to do with my time but shop online?
And there it is. Just like I thought, you really only concern about yourself. The only reason you're apologizing right now is because you want your son's money to financially support your spending habits.
That's not it at all. I'm very sorry, really. I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Your heart is like a bottomless pit, so that doesn't really match.
It took me losing everything to realize how important you were to me. Can't we let bygones be bygones? I miss all the fun conversations we used to have. I know that the woman my darling son chose for his wife must have it in her heart to forgive an old woman's foolishness, right?
Wow, Mom, you really are something else. You say and do some of the most hateful things possible to me, and now you want to go back to normal? Pretend like nothing ever happened? Not a chance. You can't undo what you've done or unsay what you've said.
I told you, I didn't mean any of that. I did it all out of jealousy.
You lured me into your house with phony kindness, then dumped a cup of tea on my head the moment I got there. You're going to need to do way better if this is what you want me to do to forgive you.
Tell me, what do I need to do? Anything you want me to do, I'll do it. I want to turn over a new leaf.
If that's really what you want to do, then how about you focus on being a good wife to your husband? You know what else he said to me last night? He said that ever since I started doing all the cleaning, the house is cleaner than it has ever been. Sounds like you're the one who needs a boot camp. It didn't take long for word about my mother-in-law to go around the town after that. It's a small town and everybody basically knows everybody. And now they all know that her own son has discovered her for how she treated me. Not that I feel bad for her or anything. She brought this all upon herself when she called the entire family together and announced that she was forcing Marco to divorce me. She actually expected them all to take her side too. She figured that since she was the marriage of the family, all of them would fall in line with what she was telling them about me. Unsurprisingly, however, not one single person did. Quite the contrary. She managed to infuriate the whole family when she tried to blame her mother-in-law, their true marriage, for what she has done to me. She never was a favorite relative for any of them, but this firmly cemented her position as a black sheep of the family. This all caused catastrophic levels of damage to her ego, and she's become a much quieter person ever since. Actually, she barely even leaves the house anymore these days from what I hear. My father-in-law says that's perfectly fine with him though. Apparently, whenever he took her out, she inevitably do something to embarrass him. As for me, it was quite a shock to see how quickly her personality around me changed. She was always so sweet and kind to me. It was bizarre to see her self-immobilite like that. I blocked her phone number, as I promised, and we started going to my parents' house for Christmas every year instead, so I don't ever speak to her ever again. I'm still on good terms with my father-in-law though, fortunately. Ultimately, I think this whole incident was a net positive for me. It reaffirmed what I already knew, that my husband was completely devoted to me and I could always count on him. So from now on, I want to do my best to be the kind of wife to him that he deserves. And should I ever become a mother-in-law myself, I plan to be as kind and welcoming of one as I possibly can be.